Okay, this is the production grade. It's an overview of LLD and HLD for panels and the Prisma Access. This guide combines high-level design and lower-level design for panels, firewalls, and a Prisma Access. The goal here is to show you or share a production-ready security blueprint on on-prem, branch, cloud, and remote users. We decided to focus on strong perimeter security, segmentation, and visibility to prevent lateral movement. This blueprint includes Prisma SD-WAN, ION devices, cloud firewalls based on Palo Alto, and centralized policy control. Now, if we talk about here, we can see that this document is production ready for IT professionals. We're going to cover management interfaces, other interfaces, zones, NAT, security policies, login, user identification or user ID, application ID, strong perimeter and layered defenses. In Prisma Access, we've got a complete diagram for visibility, so you can see the SD-WAN, the ION devices, Prisma Access, and also the end devices or the data centers. Sorry, not the end devices, and resources. So here's the policy and control plane. You see the BGP and the policy are pushed onto the ION devices. This is a DC hub ION devices, interface VPN and BGP, and then you've got BGP and VPN between the SD-WAN and Prisma Access. So Prisma Access acts as the cloud security and a routing layer. Branch and a data center ION devices form IPSec and a BGP, as you can see, BGP, IPSec and a BGP tunnels to Prisma Access. So traffic is dynamically steered using SD-WAN SLA profiles. You can see here we have a centralized SD-WAN controller, which is this, that manages routing, policy, push, and analytics, as you can see here. And then, so you can see that this design is a resiliency, scalability, and consistent security policy management. You can see here that we have resiliency here, we have scalability here, we have consistent security policy because we got control plane, we got data plane, and we got security and routing here. From there, we're gonna demonstrate how to configure Palo Alto first. Okay, so here how to configure management interfaces, including the IP address, subnet mask, default gateway, and a DNS. How to configure management services so that you can SSH or access the firewall via GUI. Here, how to configure your NTP. NTP is crucially important because without having NTP, you have to have a security events aligned across the firewalls, Prisma Access, and security and information management tools. Without NTP, your traffic or forensic investigation time will be inconsistent. Here, we set the host name and the domain name, so we have a consistent naming a convention that helps operations team quickly identify devices. Domain configuration supports internal integration and identity services. So it's very, very, very important. We've got login banner. The login banner is something that enforces compliance and acceptable use policy. It protects not only technology, but people and process. From here, you commit the configuration, and then you verify the configurations. So this is how you verify the configurations that you have completed. From here, you back up what you've done, always. This is for disaster recovery and business continuity. Very important. Here, how to configure interfaces and zones. Here, how to configure virtual router and static routes. Here, how to configure NATing or NAT policy. Extremely important for NAT policy, because you need to have a NAT where internal IP addresses are translated into single or multiple external IP addresses. Source NATs, which enables internal users to access the internet securely. You also have a destination NAT, publishes DMZ services while keeping internal IP address hidden. So NAT reduces attack surfaces while maintaining accessibility. So you balance security and availability both. Here, how to configure security policies and how you set the policy in place. Here, how to configure login and monitoring. How to configure application ID. There's another document which I have completed with a lot of application ID, but I'm just showing here how to configure user ID configurations. Now we're entering the SASE blueprint. So you got remote users enter or hit the cloud. From there, they hit the Prisma Access portal, identification, user profile, and so on and so forth. Then here things are split into two: security policies and network services. And then you have configuration objects, okay, IP address, subnet mask, applications, service and ports, and you've got SD-WAN and ION devices. From here, you've got endpoint and application security, like DNS security, malware protection, DNS sinkhole, and so on and so forth. Then from there, you have your monitoring and logs, traffic logs, threat events or threat logs, license usage or license log, and so on and so forth. Then from here, you got a complete Prisma configuration steps. So Prisma, summary, Prisma Access LLD. So this covers registrations, remote users, address objects, IP address objects, security policies, URL filtering, service connections, and a monitoring and a dashboard. Here is how you register Prisma Access. Here how you access or configure remote users. Here how you create or access IP addresses and address objects. Here how you access or configure security policies. Here how to access a URL filtering policy or how to configure. Here how to configure or access service connections and remote networks. Here how to access monitoring and a dashboard. Here how to create or access or deploy or implement policy objects and advanced configuration. Here another way of register, how to register your Prisma Access, and so on and so forth. Accessing your portal, provide an instance for information, and complete the configuration or registration workflow. Here, how to create remote users, which is called mobile users, how to create addresses and IP address objects, security policies, URL filtering, user ID. User ID is not optional. It's not mandatory. It's optional, but it's preferable to have it. Here you have complete Prisma Access configuration steps summary. So registration steps, creating remote users, creating addresses and IP address objects and IP addresses, security policies, URL filtering, and so on and so forth. More how to define and the differences, and what's the use case of GlobalProtect mobile users. So for non-technical, for technical, and a business impact, so that the business people understand what GlobalProtect mobile users are, and also non-technical people like service owners, product owners, application delivery, testers, QA, and so on and so forth. Understand the blueprint. Remote networks, side-to-side VPN or SD-WAN, service connections, and so on and so forth. How to configure, what are they? Put everything in one page. So, for example, Prisma Access conceptual diagram. So here you've got your corporate data centers, applications, databases, internal services, and then from there you got your SD-WAN or IPSec from A to B, and then from SD-WAN you landed on Prisma Access. Within Prisma Access you've got multiple parts. I summarized. There are other components as well that are not shown here. So remote networks, these are your branch offices. Service connection, these are your data centers, cloud services like SaaS, AWS, and also Azure. GlobalProtect mobile users, these are your remote users, your laptop users and mobile users. And more GlobalProtect resource access. So for example, your HR always access their application, HR applications. Engineers always development applications. Finance always reach their application. So this is a complete, segmented, and a segregated network. So you need to define who can access what, from where, and how. Okay. And then from here, you get your remote networks. Remote networks again, side-to-side VPN and SD-WAN, and what they are. For example, how to put things into perspective in real, so that your branch office connects to your head office, and then your head office connects your cloud, and this is how the traffic goes through each stage. Then your service connections, what your service connections does, how you send your secure traffic through the Prisma SASE, and how you send Office 365 and other services or resources through your local internet. So here you have a complete segregation and a complete resource segmentations. Here how to access your Prisma Access status. Here how you view your mobile users, how to view remote networks, how to view or access your service connections, how to view or access your security policies, how to view or access objects, how to view or access service usage or health metrics. What are your daily operation consumptions? What are your overall bandwidth consumptions and overall performance? Here, how to access the web GUI, your dashboard, how to access insights and monitoring, like SASE health, Prisma Access usage, threats, including incidents, network usage, remote network usage, Prisma browser and dashboard usage, analytics and web behavior analytics, and so on and so forth. Here, how to access or configure addresses, configurations, custom URL, external dynamically list, which is very useful. Okay, surface objects, how to configure URL filtering policy, allow corporate sites. This is how to do, and also how to block unwanted URL, how to block social media unwanted, how to allow only corporate secure resources. From here, we're looking at how to produce a complete LLD, a low-level design, Prisma Access security policy for Office 365, and how to list your URL categories, IP address objects, surface group, and how to allow Office 365 traffic. Also how to use external dynamic list for Office 365, and production nodes for production deployment. Here are the most critical ION devices command lines. Very crucial, very important. These commands are essential for day-to-day troubleshooting, network validation, and your daily operational success. So here you can identify, identity-based security policy, not just flip-flopping, so that your ION devices really have what they meant to be processing. So this is a complete business value where you can view device information, interface commands, routing commands, IP tunnel, VPN and tunnel commands, security policy commands, user and a group mapping commands, flow and diagnostic commands, more device info professional tips, interface professional tips, routing professional tips, VPN and tunnel professional tips, security policy professional tips, and verifications, user and a group mapping. Okay, diagnostic professional tips. Final takeaway: senior engineer level. So in here, make sure the BGP on ION devices meet these five conditions: receive, accept, install, advertise, and forward, and so on and so forth. And here we need to make sure that what are the roles of the BGP, what are the ION device roles in terms of BGP. In other words, ION devices and their BGP role. Okay, Prisma devices and their BGP role, SD-WAN controller and their BGP role, BGP installations, who does what. So who installs BGP? Is it Prisma? Is it SD-WAN? Is it ION device? Who does what? Shows you here. Now, we're now reviewing the same diagram that we met at the introduction stage. So Prisma SD-WAN and a Prisma Access, logical blueprint or logical diagram or architectural overview. So SD-WAN controller is a control plane, policy and a control plane, and then ION devices is a data plane. Prisma Access gives you cloud routing and security. From here, when your users or your resources are inside the Prisma Access, then policies are applied. So your resources or your users will be able to go to the internet if they want it, go to the on-prem if they really want that, if they go in that direction, or they will be directed to either Azure, landing zone, or AWS. And this is very, very crucial. This is how to read the diagram. From here, we have sort of like put together a blueprint, a node. So your Prisma SD-WAN roles explained. So you got SD-WAN controller, you got Prisma Access, so you got ION devices, and a quick takeaway. So the SD-WAN controller decides and distribute policy, no traffic. A Prisma Access is a cloud hub, routes, and secures traffic here. And then your ION devices, they literally enforce local traffic and policy, because this is where your users hit first. So imagine you have a firewall in every site, every branch office, every location, and every head office. So your users, the first device they hit is the ION devices. Then they hit the SD-WAN. Then they hit the Prisma Access. Then they go to internet, on-prem, go to Azure, or go to AWS. That's how the Prisma Access SD-WAN works. Here we put 1 to 10 steps together, so you can just read it, which is going to be a very useful blueprint for production-grade implementation. Lastly, but not the least, here we are sharing step-by-step ION device BGP configurations. So first of all, this is how you turn on the BGP. This is how you configure BGP peer. This is how you advertise subnet. This is how you apply route policy, export and import. This is how you set attributes. This is how you verify what you have configured. And this is the table, troubleshoot table. Okay. Lastly, not the least, sorry, I shouldn't say that. I meant I should have done this before the BGP. Okay, but it's not. It's not going to impact our video. So just to note that I should have introduced this before I went into the BGP. So in here, this is how you deploy your ION devices, so they are ready to take the BGP configuration in. So you configure, you set up the interface management or management interface setup. You set up the WAN interface and internal internet interfaces. You set up LAN interface and internal interfaces. You set up VPN tunnel and tunnel interfaces. You push the policy or you apply the policy. Then you enable the BGP policy and peer configuration, advertise, and so on and so forth. So in here, we are just repeating what we've done, what we said already. Okay. Then here, how to verify, verification and troubleshooting. So it's Mohammed Osame, network and a security consultant, saying to you this was a business value. This is sort of like a complete zero trust demo, production grade, where you have learned something that you normally don't see on a YouTube video. So it's been very informative. It's meant or aimed for IT professional, architects, security engineers, and it's been aligned to zero trust, layered defense, operational readiness, production grade video. Until next video, I would welcome your comments and your feedback to this production grade video.